and Great Britain, the world champions. And what a race it was last year by the British to take the title. So let's meet the crews that have found their way into this final. Over on the far side in lane 1, 3 of the men in this boat, except Thomas Ebert in the bow. They were 6th last year in the World Championship final. Here are the men in lane 2, who are the world champions, Huang, Hu, Zhang and Tian. France in lane number 3, silver medalists a year ago. 3 of the 4 men of that boat got silvers. In lane number 4, Germany. And 3 of this crew come out of the lightweight 8 and the lightweight pairs, particularly the stern pair, the brothers Kuna. And Great Britain in lane number 4, the world champions. Last year, when I said the world champions of China, they were 2 years ago, of course. And Ireland, whose performances over the last 2 years have been like a rock and roll thing. They were 12th last year, but they were as good as bronze the year before.
China.
So, far side, Denmark,
Germany.
then 2 from the top. China, world champions 2 years ago, then France, then Germany. 2 from the bottom are the reigning world champions, Great Britain, and then Ireland closest to you.
You look to see off the start not just whether they get on quickly to the second and third stroke, but actually how well they draw together. And very impressive then by the British 4, because the time spent coaching and the time spent getting the order right so that they can move together was evident from the way they moved off that start there. But France are given the early lead. That's them in lane 3 from the top of your picture, with Germany in the black boat with the orange and red on the bows, slipping back, the only crew really to slip back. But Ireland, I think, will find it hard, partly because they're in lane 6 and the drag on the television boat, but also this field has this season been a little bit faster than Ireland has been used to providing.
If they've got one crumb of comfort to go from, they're right next to Great Britain, so if they can actually try and live with Great Britain, then that's going to help them stay in contention. But that's a big if.
But the British 4 last year, as you say, they got the championships, but they only led that race for a matter of strokes at the end. They came from behind. They were well back at halfway, not well back, but they were in the pack, not up front at halfway. And there's James Clark in the stroke seat of this 4.
Paul Mattick and James Lindsay Finn and Richard Chambers back in the bow. End of the first quarter, and you can see China there in lane number 2. So effectively, the 2 nations that have taken the world titles in the last 2 seasons vying early on.
That's right.
And
but Ireland now slipping back behind Germany, and Germany out of touch. So this is, I mean, Germany coming back into touch, but I think Ireland 15 metres off the pace after 500 metres are going to find it very difficult to keep up. But watch out for China. They're champions in 2006 at Eton.
Do you remember how aggressive they were? They were incredibly aggressive in Eton, and they came off the water and they were pumped up for, you know, through the medal ceremony and everything. You've never, I haven't seen, or didn't see until then, a crew that animated.
Well, interestingly, as I said, sometimes the Chinese crews will argue that their national championships are a tougher and more aggressive scene than the world championships, because the level of competition is so high. And perhaps it was just the sense for the first time for that crew of getting out there into the world of rowing and doing something. Last year they clearly got it wrong, because they've got back onto some sort of song, and Germany now pulling through the world champions. Germany, who had dropped back and who I wrote off earlier on, are back in, and in lane 5 the reigning champions are looking a little bit out of sorts in 4th or 5th place.
Well, that's a really impressive piece of rowing in the second quarter there by the Chinese. Tian in the stroke seat, Zhang, Wu and Huang in the bow, and Germany, Great Britain, Denmark and France.
Denmark with Ebert, Helleberg and Ebbesen, and Mads Kruse Andersen, who's younger than them, but those other 3 reigning champions for years and years in this event and this is a slightly swan song season for them, but they're in there hunting for bronze medal.
Well, China on the far side going past the boat park over on the far side, so we're inside the last 800 meters, and now beginning to move very sweetly now to counter-attack that challenge by China in the first two quarters are Great Britain on the near side. But interestingly enough, as you pointed out, Hugh, Germany very much on the premises, and also Denmark certainly in with a chance of a place.
Denmark looking quite sharp in contrast to one or two other crews. I don't know what they did last week, but they're looking sharp here. The Great Britain crew, I spoke to Robin Williams yesterday afternoon following their slightly lackluster semi-final, and he said it wasn't a bad row, but it was just they were feeling a bit heavy, and I suspect that they came here with just a little bit too much training under their belts and not enough recovery, and they're beginning. You can see pain on James Clark's face, and I think that there's probably just a bit too much residual fatigue in the legs for them to think that they can drive through here and really do what they did last year to take the championships.
China on the far side there, Denmark, Germany, and then Great Britain and France and Ireland. Ireland predictably, as you said, struggling in lane number 6. Now, for me, it's going to be interesting to see what this French quartet can do here, because they traditionally also have a very quick finish.
Well, they're 20 metres behind and Britain's 19 metres behind. They're very close to each other, so both of those crews going for 4th place might push them back up into 3rd if they really got going. Question is, can Germany keep up this pace? And look on the far side how Denmark have now crept up on China and are moving every stroke. Now there's so much experience in this Danish crew, and not only that, so much experience of coming through like this. They would lead and dominate races, but if they didn't lead and dominate, they surely knew how to come through from behind, and they're putting China under serious pressure here.
Hang on and have a look at the French now. The French, Fabien Tillier, Jean-Christophe Bert, Guillaume Ragnot and Franck Soffarossi are beginning to move themselves very much into 3rd place. Germany finding this tough, looking to their right, and they can see the French now. The French finishing probably about the fastest boat on the regatta course at the moment. Coming right in front of us, China hanging on, still in the lead at the moment. On the far side, Denmark. France coming between the Chinese and Germany, coming towards the line now. The French are closing. China have got enough in hand, and they are going to hold on. Denmark in 2nd place, and France go 3rd. Germany are 4th. Great Britain are in 5th place. And then on the near side, Ireland. Terrific race, and all credit to the Chinese. They had to resist the challenge of the Danes, but Denmark look pretty pleased with that effort, and that will give them great heart.
Well, it's the best performance they've done since their recovery, since the great days when they were in charge of this event, in sole charge of this event. And I think that I really thought that they might even go through the whole way, but it wasn't to be. China won that, but Denmark definitely back on the starting lineup for Beijing.
Yes, they were, of course, Olympic champions in 2004, so they're out to defend that title. But as you said, the heady days when nobody got near them, well, they won in 2003 and 2002 in the Worlds, and then just the 90s were theirs.
Eskil Everson is 36. Thomas Ebert is 35. Bo Helleberg, who's the young one, is 34.
Yeah.
And the babe is 30, and that's Mads Kruse Andersen.
Now, what about the Chinese performance there, Hugh?
I'm very impressed because they didn't panic. They got out in their lead, a lead of a length and a half at one point, or probably less than half of open water, but still a very strong lead, 4 or 5 seconds, and then they let the field come back, but didn't panic and made sure that they hung on to keep this vastly experienced Danish crew at bay by 2 or 3 meters.
And France finishing predictably fast.
Yep.
And they'll feel that they've not had a bad day at the office either.
No, and this crew, I wonder whether the television on this side gathers back a little bit of the pace of lane 5, as well as definitely taking pace off lane 6, Ireland.